Hey there, Alex. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Really well.
Good. You know what? I can't believe it is 22 years since your first album, Little Earthquakes. Maybe I'm getting old, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like 22 years to me. I'm presuming for you as well, it's gone quickly.
Really quickly. It's hard to believe 22 years, but yes.
How do you think that you have changed as an artist over the years, or maybe you haven't?
Well, I guess that in some ways I have a better sense of humor than I used to. Maybe that's being married to a Brit and having a child that's part British, that they keep me laughing. I guess it's a privilege to be able to make music. This is the 14th album, and it's, as a musician, your dream is always that you're able to make music and grow with music and continue to write things.
Is it ever difficult to find, to keep producing new, fresh-sounding music over the years? I don't know, is there a danger of maybe getting stuck in a rut? You seem to kind of change, you've done some classical music over the last few years as well. Is that something that's important to you?
I think the last few years have been refreshing for me to be exposed to so many different ways of creating. Working with the Deutsche Grammophon folks and immersing myself with old classical masters, as well as writing a musical with my writing partner, Sam Adamson, and working with the British National Theatre, which was an absolute hoot. It was so fantastic. So, of course, it really changed my life, those projects for the last few years.
And how have your fans reacted to that? Because obviously, if they're used to a particular style of music and then you do classical, has that enabled you, I suppose, to broaden your appeal to different people? Or how have your sort of core fans reacted to that?
Well, I've found that if you really do your best and you put everything into the work, so it isn't some type of a project whereby you're just, taking up people's time, a vanity project. If it's something that you really put your heart and soul into, I find that the public will give you a chance if they really feel like you've put everything you have into something. I've found anyway that they say, okay, it might not be our favorite thing, this might not be the best thing you've ever done, but you gave it a good go, so yay for effort.
Excellent. I think one thing, certainly for me, that does come across with our music, it is so personal that there's so much of you that goes into it. You hear a lot of people and, it just sounds like they're singing words. I can tell that music is clearly a huge part of your life. How do you manage to juggle that now that, obviously, as you say, you've got a family, you've got a daughter? I presume priorities change over the years.
Well, the musician and the mother have to sometimes duke it out. Who's gonna take over the body and be the one that's present? My daughter understands that the musician and the mom are very much always having to wrestle for time. And she's grown up with both, and she's been incredibly supportive and inspirational. So she's been touring with me and my husband since she was a year old. And at a certain point, she needed to stay in school. So she's at boarding school now in London. She wanted to go. She kind of ditched us when she was 11.
Oh, dear. And does she have a similar music taste to you? Is she similarly musical as well?
She's very musical. She likes soul music. She has a very different, let's put it this way, she has her own collection, her own song collection. She has her own iTunes account that she, I would say she does share it with me, which is great. She'll say, Mom, I want to show you this. And so she exposes me to things that I wouldn't be listening to.
Now, you've got your new album coming out, Unrepentant Geraldines. I love the title of it, but you're going to have to explain what that's about, Tori.
Well, it means whatever you want it to mean. I think at a certain point, really, you have to stand by what you believe in and not be apologetic for it. that doesn't mean there aren't things in your life you might have done differently back in your 20s specifically, but at a certain point, you've got to stand by what you believe. And that's really kind of the core of the record.
And I understand the album is very much a return to your more sort of traditional style that people would associate you with, obviously having done the classical stuff. Was that a conscious decision or just something that you thought, I just fancy doing this?
Well, I was creating for the musical, The Light Princess, over at the National, and that's a very specific type of, it's a musical theater score. So that's not really part of the pop genre. It's not a quote-unquote pop musical. More influenced by Sondheim and that kind of thing. And Rodgers and Hammerstein, who my mom brought me up on, and I just loved all of everything they wrote, as well as doing the classical projects. So these little songs would be developing over the last few years, just how I would get through certain situations. And they got written in order to deal with them, but I didn't play them for anybody. I just kind of kept them secret.
So it's almost come about organically then?
Yeah, this time it has.
And the single, Trouble's Lament, which is absolutely beautiful, really, really love it. It's got quite a sort of blues, Southern American sound to it, hasn't it?
Yes, I grew up, I was born in North Carolina, and I spent about 4 months there every year, and loved the storytelling and the sounds and the smells and the tastes of the South in the 60s. And there's a bit of Johnny Cash and all of those wonderful type of storytellers that influenced me that are hopefully I'm paying homage to in this song.
Now, on your album, I understand it's all solo songs. There's no collaborations this time around. Is that right?
My daughter sings on a song with me.
Fantastic.
She sings on a song called Promise. And we were talking about a mom and a daughter and the things that they need to promise each other in life so that they are, not driving each other crazy.
Now, 'cause obviously you have done a few collaborations in the past. Actually, when I mentioned that you were going to be on the show on Twitter, I had a tweet from Dave asking, he was a big fan of this was from a while back when you did some songs with Al Stewart. Any chance of any more of those, he asks?
That was such a great time working with Al Stewart. Such a fabulous time. Do you know that he played a gig before Little Earthquakes broke? He played a gig, and anyway, he asked me to play, and the only way I could really play was not as me, because I was under contract and that type of thing. So I played as a Russian pianist for him. So I was Vilina Chukovskaya. He named me.
Brilliant.
And I played Year of the Cat for him at, I think it was Festival Hall back in 1991.
Fantastic. I love that song as well.
Yeah, he's such a great artist.
Yeah, superb. Oh, well, that's brilliant stuff. Now, you've got a tour coming up as well, I understand. I think nearest you're going to be to us is in Manchester, is that right?
I think so. I don't know my towns as well as I should, but yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, having had a look at the list, I think it's probably the nearest one. So looking forward to that. Is that something that you enjoy doing, particularly the actual live performance and the touring?
Well, live performance is so dependent on the audience because I'm going out just me and the piano, a few pianos, so bit of Rick Wakeman, no cape, but many keyboards at the same time, Octopussy, trying to play all these songs with many arms and hands. And when the audience is asking for songs and you're able to fulfill their requests, it's just, it's magic.
And you're able to do that because quite often a lot of people have a very kind of set list, I suppose, and people might shout out songs, but if I haven't prepared for them, then there's no chance of getting on. So will you change your set list as a result then?
Oh, I change it all the time, yeah, and that means I might forget the lyrics, but then they yell them out for me. They're forgiving these days. They just yell out the lyrics if I forget, so it works itself out.
Sounds like a good relationship. Tori, thank you so much. It's been a real privilege to talk to you today.
Thanks for having me.
Very best of luck with your new album and your tour as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.